Well, who was halfway down that hill when I was hitting 90?
A cop?
Yeah! For that split moment, he got me. For 2 hours, I drove perfectly.
Oh, man.
But for that, it couldn't have been more than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It was a steep hill. I was booking it. I was ready to get there. He got me. You know, whether it was right or wrong, he got me.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong. And I proved that the people that go down that hill speed, because that's exactly why he was there. Because he knew.
Yeah.
He knew. Well, it's the same way for the activists when they come after your page. They think they know, that if they push these buttons and they sit at the bottom of that hill and they just pry, they're going to make you lose your cool.
Hello and welcome to Talk Ag to Me, the podcast dedicated to improving ag literacy around the globe. I'm your host, Brendan Black, and today I have with me Tyler Ribeiro. So Tyler here is going to tell us a little bit about the issue regarding animal rights and how we go about that conversation. Not just why it's an issue, but also how can we in the agricultural industry handle that in a more professional and effective manner. But first of all, Tyler, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
I appreciate you bringing me on. This is really an amazing topic that a lot of us don't know how to handle for the most part, much less talk about. And that's something that I really try to focus on, especially in my life. Here on the farm, we've been doing this for 4 generations, and talking about just how long we've been doing it hasn't really been that much of a aha moment for people. So seeing that and understanding that, I've really focused on not only just bettering our herd and our family and everything that goes around being a dairyman, but also starting a social media profile. I'm on both Facebook and Instagram and unfortunately TikTok. And I try to show what dairy is, but also humanize what we do. I want to show, the truth, the real story on how we take care of animals, not this fairy tale lie that's being spread about us. What do we really do, and how do you combat that? So that's a lot of what I focus on our farm, making sure that we stand up to the integrity and the honesty that I am talking about, which I can speak for the majority of facilities across the U.S. that what we talk about, what we say, what I show is actually happening on these farms. But also, how do you communicate what we're doing to people that have never seen a cow?
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. I think it's a good thing that you're doing. And I personally have followed your social media for a while. I don't know if you want to give a little bit more of an explanation about what you do on social media, what your presence is, what your role is in the ag industry as far as kind of, hyping up what you do in the dairy industry.
So my social media page, I focus on being a dad in dairy. You can find me on California Dairy Dad, CaDairyDad to be specific. I like to show what we do, right? Here in agriculture, we have a really special opportunity to have our kids with us, to teach our kids what we're doing and have them follow in our footsteps, so to speak, on a day-to-day basis. But with that, I really like to make you feel good, right? I enjoy what I do. I enjoy sharing what I do, but I want to make you laugh when I do it. I want to make you smile. I want you to look at it, and I don't care if you laugh at me because a snake popped out of somewhere I wasn't expecting and I peed on myself. I don't care what it is. I want you, after you leave my page, I want you to feel good. I want you to be happy. There's a lot of negativity in the world right now, and you're not going to get that from me. You're going to get the truth about what we do, non-biased opinion on what dairy is, what agriculture is. If something is wrong, I'll tell you it's wrong. If something is right, I'm going to tell you it's right. But at any rate, I want you to walk away feeling good that you know that you can trust us as a dairy community, and that you have a smile by the time you close that app.
Awesome. I think that's a really good mentality to have going into it. I think, at least from my own observation, looking at a lot of social media around agriculture, it's a lot of just filling people with information, and there's not a whole lot of storytelling going on. And one of the biggest advantages we have being, more country lifestyle, I mean, look at the old cowboys, that was always like a big thing, and storytelling is huge. Like, that's how we sell our product, is telling that story. And so I think that personality is something that has been kind of lost in that communication between farmer and consumer. I think that's something that's part of the reason why I wanted to have you on here, because you're very active in the idea of tell your story, bring a personality, make people understand that, farmers are people too. So,
well, and we're approachable. There's a lot of people that are scared to ask the question because they're scared they're going to look stupid. They're scared that they're going to be told, how could you possibly think that? But the fear is real a lot of the times. How often have you seen a producer criticize someone for asking a question? It's not right. We want to share our story so much. You can't criticize someone for not knowing. They come to you for questions.
Right.
They want to know.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. I really thought that chocolate milk came from brown cows. Well, you can take that in and chuckle about it, but it was an honest question. Educate with humility.
Right.
And then move forwards.
No, absolutely. And I have tried to get away from it, but in the interviews I've done with consumers over the past few episodes, I asked all of them, I've stopped doing this since because I don't think that's a good idea, but I asked all of them a set of extremely basic, almost what we laugh about kind of questions, just to see where their knowledge set is at. But I make sure they understand, look, I'm asking you these questions because there are people who actually believe this, and I want to know if you're one of those people before I say anything that might make you feel stupid, because I don't want to make you feel stupid. I'll talk to people on, and we start off the interview, I'm like, okay, before we start, first of all, where does your food come from? They're like, farms. Okay. Where does chocolate milk come from? And they usually say, I'm pretty sure you just mix chocolate with milk. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. As long as you don't say brown cows, that's what I'm looking for. And they're like, wait, people actually think that? I'm like, way more than you would think. And they're like, there's no way. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not asking you because I'm trying to be mean. I'm asking you because I don't know what you know. And that's the other hard part about the conversation, is we don't know what consumers know and don't know. And so we need to kind of look at it with the perspective of, like you're saying, teach with humility. Look at it from the perspective of, okay, what do you want to know and what can I teach you? And then just kind of base it off of, if somebody were here for the first time and I didn't think they would know about this, what I want them to know kind of thing. At least that's I don't know if you have different thoughts on that or.
No, I mean, you're 100% correct. It's interesting because on my page has really kind of exploded here in the last month or so. And I've got a good population of people that aren't in the dairy industry, or maybe they don't know about animals in general. I showcase everything I've got. So horses, donkeys, chickens, turkeys, everything. I've got a funny farm. And some people don't know, but they're scared to ask on a regular thread. So I'll get these messages in private. Hey, I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to look stupid. I don't understand the joke. Can you explain it to me? And that's your opportunity to be the person they need to be.
Right.
Educate, kind of explain it to them. You both laugh about it. And then that opens up that communication window for next time.
Yeah.
Be the person that they want to come to.
Yes.
Be that person that he's not going to make me feel stupid, or she's not going to make me feel stupid for asking this question. And that's where we get really tied up when it comes to especially animal handling. So many people are scared to ask the question because it's such a emotional, passionate argument that we have as dairy producers. Is we feel so strongly about this, and we are doing everything possible to make sure that these little divas get everything that they want whenever they want, and we spend millions of dollars just to make them happy. Because, and I've been telling people, and it's the truth, is dairies aren't here to produce milk. dairies ship out milk, but dairies are here to produce happy, healthy cows. From that, the byproduct is milk.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to keep your cool sometimes when people are lying about you or saying that you do all these terrible things when it's so far from the truth. And so many times we as dairy men and women have to wake up in the middle of the night to go take care of a calf, spend all night trying to, help this mother, and then watch them both die. Right? That passion doesn't come just from nowhere. That's lived out passion. That's emotion that you just don't get. You care so deeply about every single animal. So when somebody makes even a single question about how you take care of your animals, it's so easy to take the defensive and then immediately go offensive.
Yeah.
When it was an honest question that they just didn't know. They didn't know you were up all night.
Yeah.
They didn't know that you didn't get to go to your kid's performance because you had cows to take care of, or that you had to miss the family barbecue because somebody was calving, or whatever it might be. They have no idea. Not their fault.
No.
There's no way for them to know.
Right.
However, it's our position to teach,
right,
explain with patience, understanding that they don't know. They'll never know unless we tell them.
Absolutely. And I think that you kind of hit on it there, but I think that it's really important to keep in mind, and like you said, they have no way of knowing when, especially those in the animal agriculture industry, but those when we're just attacked by people on social media that are actively looking for a fight. So animal rights activists, yes, or, like the anti-GMO people, or anyone who's just looking for trouble kind of thing. When that's all we see in social media, it creates this false perception that anyone who doesn't know must be against us. And that creates kind of a warfare kind of mentality between both sides. And that's not healthy for this conversation to really happen well.
No, but you touched on it right. Mm-hmm. There is a very, very small percentage of people that are out there actively looking for a fight. Mm-hmm. They've become a little more organized, so they seem a lot more loud. Mm-hmm. They're very pesky. It's a bit like that fly that just won't leave you alone, right?
Yep.
But for the most part, the silent majority is there to listen.
Yes.
So if you can deal with the pest in the room in order to educate the majority, to be there to help everybody else, to be there to be that sounding board for them, that's what it's all about. You're never going to change those people that are actively out there to pick a fight. No. You're not going to change their mind. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They don't care how great you do on the farm. They're there to actively shut you down, right? They're actively out there spreading lies, trespassing, whatever it might be, causing you incredible mental and sometimes physical harm to a point, just to see you fail, just because of their dilemma in life, their thought process, the lies that they've been fed, and God bless them if they decide not to drink dairy or eat meat. I'm not going to tell you what you can eat or what you can't drink.
Right.
That's not. I truly believe if you want to drink whatever you want to drink it. I don't care. I really don't.
Right.
But you got to do it with the understanding of why. Why have you made that choice?
Right.
Is it because mom and dad have taught you to do that? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Is it because you honestly believe something about an industry that's not true? That's not okay.
No.
Right? I'm all about making informed decisions. And if it doesn't fall in the dairy category, that's your choice. What I wish you were over on our side, absolutely. But if you choose not to, as long as I've got your trust and respect that we do work 24 hours, 7 days a week to make sure the product that leaves our shelf or leaves our farm is the most safe, wholesome product that you could ever find.
Yep.
That you trust us that we can do this day in and day out. That we have been for decades, for generations. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
I just care that you have the most informed decision possible, whether it's dairy or not. As long as you're making it based on truths and not lies, That's it. That's what it's all about.
No, absolutely. And I think that agriculture, it's kind of funny. The agricultural sector and the less agriculturally literate consumer sector, when I say that, I don't mean the animal rights activists. I mean like the listeners, like you were talking about. They have more life than they do in common. They're both misrepresented in media.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we're both deemed as like, because we're not loud enough, therefore people say our story for us, and it's not the story we want to tell. And I see a lot of times, like I've actually, like taking your fly analogy, the annoying fly, it's always, like buzzing around you. Yeah, it gets annoying. Yeah, it gets you really pissed off half the time because you don't know what to do about it. Like, you can't hit it because it won't go away. Or if you hit it, 5 more follow you. Like, it's a difficult issue to deal with. But if you lose your temper, then that's the worst thing you could do. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie 42.
No.
With Jackie Robinson. Fantastic movie. I love that movie. And it's got one of my favorite points in it of all time because Jackie Robinson, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it relates to what we're talking about. Jackie Robinson had a terrible temper. And I mean, like I said, he was the first African-American to go into baseball, and he faced a lot of racial criticism going into baseball. But the manager who took him in wanted him to be like the symbol of what that could mean. And there's a good part of the movie where he gets, names called on him, and he gets stuff thrown at him while he's out trying to bat, and he gets beamed by one of the pitchers, and it's like this bad scene. He walks into the dugout, he breaks the bat over the wall, and he's just like about ready to strangle somebody. Like, he's so mad. And the manager comes out, just gives him a hug and says, look, if you prove to them that you're just some angry, animal that's just going to go on a rampage, you're proving them right, because that's what they think you are. And that's kind of the issue we're facing right now on social media is we're being posed as these, capitalists, like, power hungry, like just cows are machines, so we utilize them for what we want them, and that's it. If we get mad, then that just proves their point. That proves that that's all we are, is just, the power hungry capitalists that don't care about our cows.
Well, and that's just it. A lot of the people that have been attacking me on social media are there trying to upset me. Mm-hmm. They try to say things that I think have worked on other people, poking at my morals, my ethics, deep stuff. I've heard of people attacking kids on social media. Parents' kids. Oh, why are you teaching your kids that? You're a horrible parent. I sure hope you both die. Like, seriously. I mean, it's really easy for me to jump out of my skin and want to strangle you through a computer. I will find you. This is what I do.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
I drink milk and I kick your butt.
No, absolutely.
But at the same point, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that sound bite that fits their narrative, right? It may not be the truth, but if they can get you to lose your cool, even if it's just for a split second, they just won. Like the other day, a little while ago, the cruise control on my truck was broken, and I had to go to a meeting all the way at the coast. I had about 2.5 hour drive, and I told myself, I'm going to drive the speed limit. All the way there, darn it. And I did, except for 1 mile. I was coming down a hill, and I took my foot off the brake. I said, we're just going to cruise down this hill. When I hit the bottom, we're just going to go. I'm going to save on gas. Well, who was halfway down that hill when I was hitting 90?
The cop?
Yeah! For that split moment, he got me. For 2 hours, I drove perfectly.
Oh, man.
But for that, it couldn't have been more than a minute. It was a steep hill. I was booking it. I was ready to get there. He got me. Whether it was right or wrong, he got me.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong. And I proved that the people that go down that hill speed, because that's exactly why he was there. Because he knew.
Yeah.
He knew. Well, it's the same way for the activists when they come after your page. They think they know, that if they push these buttons and they sit at the bottom of that hill and they just pry, they're going to make you lose your cool. That cool that you had when you had an employee quit on you that night and you had to milk. The cool that you had when you spent an hour trying to help a mother calf. That cool you had when you had to go home to kids that were freaking out because they've been quarantined.
Yeah.
And maybe you slept for 2 hours if you were lucky. That cool that you kept calm the entire time. And then they just poke at it. They poke at it. You were calm that entire time. But it was that last straw from that pesky fly that flew in your ear, and you want to smack the tar out of it.
Yeah.
But just to prove their point. And that may be the most important time, that split second when you're typing on that keypad, that will dictate the way people view the industry. Now, I'm not taking away anything from the rest of your day, the patience that you had. My gosh, the majority of the people that are able to pull that off is a saint.
Right.
But for the sake of everybody, because they will take that one clip and they will play it for everybody. All dairymen are this way.
Yep.
All cows are treated this way because they got that little clip of you losing your cool for a split second. Now, with that being said, just calm down. Take a breather. There are so many times that I had to put the computer away, put the phone away. Yeah. I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah.
But it affects everybody. It's just understanding that you don't have to respond right away, and knowing that they're purposely trying to do that to you. They're not honest people that are there trying to help you with something or help educate the public. They're being malicious.
Yeah.
Knowing that going in, though, and knowing that they want you to screw up, to me, that helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Knowing that if I'm going into a fight, I know they're going to hit me, I'm able to parry and block just a little bit better.
That's true. No, it's a good perspective to have on it. And I think that that's something that a lot of people in the ag industry need to kind of take note of, because basically I've seen two major mentalities, and there's like other ways of dealing with it, but either most people that I've seen that are active on social media and try to have conversations with the people, they either give in and they fight back, which usually doesn't go well, or they try to ignore them, which doesn't help anybody, because they're still getting the message out there and somebody's going to read it, and if nobody fights it, and if nobody says anything, then that's all they see, and they believe that that's the truth because it's all they have.
Well, and I can't knock both sides. I can't knock either side.
No, exactly.
I understand wanting to fight back, and I understand going dark and ignoring.
Yeah.
There's both sides, and both sides have a place.
Right.
Now, fighting back, you have to do it educatedly.
Right.
You have to do it knowing that when you go into it, that you have to do it correctly. If you don't know how to fight back, I say fight back very loosely.
Right.
If you don't know how to respond, don't. It's worse for all of us if you respond incorrectly.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are just told, just please shut up. Please don't say anything.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say. Just don't. For the love of Pete, just stop.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are told, just don't.
Yeah.
And there's I feel like everybody should have a voice, and it's not fair that it's that way a lot of times. But if people wanted to respond. Do it. Don't be scared.
No.
And maybe it's not on that thread.
Yeah.
Maybe it's taking time to make another post that's a sidebar of the whole thing, to be like, okay, this is what happened over here, but I'm going to correct it here.
Right.
This is what was said and this was incorrect. I'm going to address it on this side on a different post. I'm going to explain it thoroughly, where it doesn't come out as, emotional or quick-witted or whatever it might be. It's calculated.
Right.
It's calculated going in. It's a really delicate dance, because those people are out there to do dumb things. But we as producers, and whether it's dairy or farming, we're very intelligent people.
Yes.
I mean, there are incredible people in agriculture that they need to share their story. This shouldn't discourage anybody from sharing, mind you.
No.
These people are out there. They're not going to go away.
No.
So if you want your story spread, you better do it now, or they're going to tell it.
Yeah.
Are you going to run into these a-holes? Yeah, it's going to happen. Knowing it's going to happen, you should just expect it, and it'll help you get through it. But also know there's a ton of people that have done it before.
Yep.
We are a very well-connected group now, where if you need help, I don't care what industry you are in, reach out to other people that have social pages. We've all been attacked. If you haven't, you're going to.
Yeah.
But that's why all of us are here going, hey, if you need help, ask us. We'll plug you into our groups. We'll get you the help you need. We'll jump on the page for you and help you with this stuff. You're not alone.
No.
And that's the huge thing when starting a social page is understanding you're not alone. It's finding somebody to help either mentor you or at least help you through some of these rough patches.
Yeah.
Now, this, I think, is one of the reasons why I started with this page, and many have too, is so that producers don't feel alone.
Right.
A lot of times you see these things, like you said, you see them online, it's ugly. You know, they're saying this and prop this, and the news is saying that, and there's a protest.
Yep.
And you feel isolated. But at the same time, there's people out there, you know, and we have to be that voice. And one of the biggest things I want producers to know is that they're not alone.
Right.
We're out there. We're here. We need you. We need you to spread the story that we're saying. There's a lot of people that don't want to go out and put themselves out there on social media. They don't want to tell their story because they're scared.
Yeah.
But they're totally cool with other people doing it. We need those people to like and share and comment and bring those posts to the top of the feeds. I'm not saying just mine. There's tons out there. Pick somebody. Pick somebody. Yeah. I don't care. We're all in it together.
Right. Yeah, and that's another big thing that I see a lot is that as much as agriculture is a competitive industry, the one thing to keep in mind is we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to feed the world. We're trying to rebuild communities. We're trying to get our word out there. There's no point in not working together to get that done. I mean, we're all on the same team here, as you know. And I think that a lot of it is that, and I'm curious to see your perspective on this, because I've always kind of thought of it as like it's more kind of on your point of instead of just responding to their comment, you just post a whole separate post that addresses maybe a related issue that's supposed to answer their question kind of thing. If you were to do something along the lines of, instead of focusing on trying to correct every mistake that those groups say about agriculture, instead of trying to right all the wrongs, go and just teach the consumers. So like instead of just, because they're spreading false information, they probably even know it's false information and they don't care. They just want to cause trouble. And like there's a lot of groups that, you know, they may say they're animal rights, they don't care about animals. They just want to push their agenda, or they want to fight, or they want, you know, they're bored, so they go online and they fight people. Like there's tons of people like that, and they're annoying, but you got to deal with them. But I almost, at least in my opinion, think it's better to, because like you said, it's a massive, or it's a tiny, like minuscule minority that actually is fighting people like that. That's actually picking the fights, that actually has an issue with agriculture, that actually wants to fight it. I almost think it'd be better to just focus all of our energy and attention on teaching the consumers the truth, getting more ag presence in media than we already have, trying to get more of a, let's talk to consumers, like, you know, like just hands-on, say, hey, you can trust what they say, or you can see it from my point of view, and I actually deal with it every day. These people had never even been on a farm before. And like bringing the story, like we talked about earlier, bringing the perspective, the personality to the consumer, instead of just letting them choose what they believe between the two fights that they're watching going on. I'm not sure which one would be. I think it's better to reach out to the consumer personally instead of just hoping that they pick the right side.
Well, I think you can do both at the same time. Because the arguments that they have may have a little truth in it. I mean, there's cows, there's your truth.
Yeah.
And then they have a subsequent storyline that fits that agenda. That to the unknowing sounds true.
Right.
And it may be in the back of the consumer's mind. I've heard this, right? I've seen a poster board on the highway that talked about this. So instead of directly combating the comment that was made on your page or whatever it might be, you take that issue. So for instance, let's say there's an issue, your cows are sweating, your cows are hot, whatever it might be, oh my goodness, you horrible dairyman.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to say you're an idiot, these people are saying this, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
It's, hey, look what we're doing. Look at these cows. I've got misters and soakers and fans and Do you know how I know that they're happy? Do you know how I know how they're feeling good? Look at their eyes. Look at their ears. See how their ears are up? See how their eyes are full?
Mm-hmm.
See how slow their breath is?
Mm-hmm.
See, a hot cow has fast breathing, long tongue. Teach them how to identify it too. Give them a little bit more information. Mm-hmm. Not just be like, yeah, look, I got all these things. Trust me that it works.
Right.
Take it the full circle. Yeah. Teach them how to identify it so they have that bit of information that's not told to them from the other side. Okay.
Yeah.
They say, this is what the other side will say. The cows are hot. They're burning. La 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 la. Bad dairyman.
Yeah.
But they have no proof because there is none.
Right.
Now let's show the proof. Show what we're doing to help with that, and then teach them how to eyeball it themselves. So when they drive past the dairy, they go, "Oh my gosh, it's 90 degrees out here."
Right.
Look at those cows. They look pretty dang happy. You know?
No, exactly. And I think that, so I've heard a couple different strategies on how to deal with both sides of it. People who are, scared because they don't know, or those who are actively trying to pick the fight, kind of, like in addressing both of those, I'm just going to call them parties for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of different strategies to approaching them. That's probably the first I've heard of that style of actually like giving them evidence from a personal level of like, look, these cows they look full. They have their breathing is slowing down. Their ears are up. Like that's a really interesting point that's not really talked about a lot, because usually the idea is you give them all kinds of stats and numbers and hope that it works out kind of thing, which, I mean, I've learned over time that stats do not resonate with people at all.
No, people don't care.
No, they read the numbers like, okay, cool. Like 72% of people don't know anything. Okay, I don't know what you want me to do with that.
60% of statistics are made up.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So it's like having like real examples to help them understand is definitely a better way of going about it. I've heard a lot of different strategies. I kind of like your opinion on what these, like how these strategies work. So like I've heard one that's it's called EASE. I think Cal Poly was on this teaching about this a few years back at some job fair. So it's EASE. It's engage in the situation or engage in the problem. A is assess, or like kind of like what's the argument, like why, like what's your side, like what's the problem. And then EAS. So S is tell your side of the story, tell what you bring to the table, and then E is earn their trust. So I mean, it's a strategy that works in certain circumstances, but with people who aren't willing to listen, that's not going to work all that well. I mean, at least I don't think so.
Well, people that aren't willing to listen, you're not talking to.
That's fair. That's right? A good point.
I mean, I understand the acronym, and a lot of things. If you read it in the book, it looks really set in stone. Right. But it's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm engaging in the conversation. I'm assessing what the argument really is, because their argument about hot cows isn't about us being horrible dairymen. It's not about those cows being hot in general. It's about animal welfare.
Yeah.
They're attacking how we take care of animals. So we're going to show how well we take care of all animals, right? So we assess the situation. It is animal welfare. So we may even show them the beds in the background, and we tell them that we groom them, and we can show the lanes. And don't even talk about the lanes, but they're absolutely spotless and clean, or whatever it might be. That's what we're showing.
Right.
Only then, after you've done those steps, and I completely understand that, is then you will earn their trust.
Yeah.
Then you'll earn their trust, their respect.
Yeah.
Earn the faith that we're going to do it day in and day out.
Yeah.
I've never heard the acronym, but that's essentially what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and no, that's what it sounds like. That's why I brought it up, because that sounds like kind of the direction you're going. I wasn't sure if you heard that before.
No, I haven't. Okay. I went to Fresno State. We don't use those things.
Right. No, yeah. No, I'm going to Fresno State too, but then Cal Poly was just like, hey, you should come to us. We have these funny acronyms. I was like, but and then there was another one that I've actually heard a Fresno State student talk about. I don't know if you know Andrew Skidmore. He's a former state president, but he was giving a whole seminar on how to, basically it's like the marginalization of agriculture and media, like how to address that kind of thing. And he had a strategy that I thought was interesting. I think it works for some people if they don't have the advantage that like you have, for example, where you can actually go out to your cows and do videos and do that kind of stuff. For somebody who lives in more of an urban area and can't get those kinds of resources, is if you see a wrong statistic, instead of trying to fire back at it, you find an actual article, a legitimate article, and you post a link to it instead. So you say like, I'm not going to fight with you. Just read this if you really want to know. Problem with that is you have to trust people are actually going to read it, and that's not always going to be the case.
it's hard. That's a really hard one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of interest groups, the checkoffs alike, whatever it might be, are looking towards influencers, social media influencers, to help share their story, to spread the truth, essentially is what it is. Because people aren't going to look at the papers. I'm not saying he's wrong, because I think that's a good... There's a place for everything,
right?
Honest to God. And I love reading white papers myself. I'm a bit of a nerd.
I am too.
So I'll read the statistics.
Yeah.
But I care, you know, and at some points I have the time to do that. I'll make a point to. A lot of people won't, but they will look to see what that chef that cooks with beef is doing.
Yeah.
No, because I care. Yeah. I care because I really like this person. They have my trust. Mm-hmm. So, oh my goodness, that is California beef. Or, oh my goodness, they are cooking with real California milk.
Right.
Or whatever it might be. It's probably the easiest direction, I think. I mean, people have been doing this for decades, I think. Yeah. General Mills has been doing it. Everybody's really have done it.
Yeah.
The dairy industry, agriculture industry as a whole have been really late to the game. Mm-hmm. But to go back to your point, it's really hard if you don't have access to animals or have some sort of help to prove that point.
Yeah. Because
a lot of what you're doing is showing. Because they're doing a lot of telling. The other side's doing a lot of telling and not really showing. Right. They're trying to... A lie has to be repeated multiple times in order for it to stick.
Yeah.
The truth should only have to be told once.
Right.
Especially if you can show it.
Exactly.
Look, we're a glass box.
Yeah.
Look, this is what's going on. What do you want to know? I will show you. I'm not going to tell you, just tell you about it. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
And it's been really hard for especially dairy to open up those doors. We've been a bit of a black box because for such a long time, we weren't protected. We couldn't be protected. We had to be very, very guarded from this small group that in the past, they could tie you up in litigations and take you to court for all these things that were spoofs.
Yeah.
They lied.
Yeah.
It was untrue. But there's stories about people being tied up in court because of these guys. That's not here anymore.
No.
The farm has a lot more power now, more rights to protect themselves. So now we're able to open up, share what we're doing. May that little pesky fly come with a little few of their friends? Yeah, possibly. You could swat at them, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking.
Sure, yeah.
Please don't hurt anybody. I'm not condoning that. Don't swat nobody.
You're gonna see the headline.
Tyler said swat the flies. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that'll go great. Yeah, I'm gonna get a phone call on that one. But we have a lot more opportunities to share our story without the backlash.
Right.
There's a lot more people that are willing to stand up and go, okay, I see Tyler's getting attacked, which just happened. Mm-hmm. Tyler's getting attacked on social media. This is what they're saying. And everybody posts the opposite because that's the truth. Everybody posts, they're talking about animal welfare. They're attacking him on that. Well, we're going to share animal welfare and we're going to show you, right? Or we're going to tell all of our followers to go look at the crazy nonsense that's going on DairyDad right now.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there before. And it's really, really difficult to change that mindset in the dairy industry, to understand that we do have protection. We are not alone. The checkoffs even have become a bigger player in this part of protecting us. Whether you have been privy to that information or if the checkoffs in some areas are a little behind. I know CMAB here has been fantastic for me. When I had some unwanted flies on my page, they were there every step of the way. So was Land O'Lakes, which was fantastic. But it's been a learning curve for everybody. And right now we really need everybody to continue to not only share their story, but boost those that are sharing their story. Again, I don't care if they're from New York, from New Mexico, from Oregon, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Dairy is dairy.
Yeah.
And we all have the same things in mind. We're all taking care of the animals the best that we can, making sure that milk is as safe and nutritious as possible, and make sure that you have a fantastic time consuming it, whether it's in gallon milk or fluid milk or cheese or butter or ice cream. We want to give it to you in a way that you want it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're here to make you happy. We're here for your enjoyment.
Yeah.
You know, we're not here to shove anything down your throat.
No.
We're here to give you a product that we know to be amazing, that we know to be incredibly healthy, damn near a superfood, everything that's got in it. But we're here doing it in such a responsible, integral manner that it's too perfect. I think that's probably what bothers people. Is it's too perfect in a way, and they have to attack it.
Yeah.
People don't like good things.
No, they don't. No, absolutely. And I was actually going to ask another question that you pretty much already answered, which was, we've seen a harder time with especially the older generations, but a lot of different industries, including the dairy industry, that don't see the importance or the need in telling their story and being there for other farmers when they're attacked, and being present on media and sharing the physical examples like you talked about, showing those videos and showing that kind of stuff. So you pretty much already touched on that as far as I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to add to, do you see more, actually I'll put it this way, do you see more dairymen or more people in the ag industry getting onto that platform of, we need to support each other on social media kind of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are new pages being made all the time. I was part of a Foot Cup Dairy Challenge here.
I saw that.
It was so much fun. I did not put it together. It was put together by I think New Mexico Milkmaid, CJS Farm. There was a ton. There was a good Idaho Dairy. There's a group of gals that put it together and connected a ton of us that I didn't even know existed.
Wow!
I didn't even know these pages existed. I knew a handful of them.
Yeah.
But it opened my eyes. I didn't even know you had a page. I didn't even know you were on this earth. And they had some of these people have 94,000 followers. I'm going, how many people are out there that have small pages that we don't know about?
Right.
There's a ton of people out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them just need that encouragement. Now, some of the reason it's hard to create pages is because of the older generation. Because it's scary, because we've been in that black box for so long. We've been trying to protect ourselves, trying to be quiet because that's what we were told to do. Don't say anything because they're going to attack you.
Right.
Well, our generation is a bunch of fighters.
Yeah.
We don't care anymore. We're going.
Yeah.
We're going to win this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're tired of being punched and beat up.
Yeah.
For something we're not doing. Don't lie.
Right.
Do not lie about what we're doing. Do not spread false information.
Yeah.
And now the older generation is going, you know what? We're sick of it too. How do we get on board?
Good.
How do we help you? How do we support you? Now, having people show up on the farm is something that no one is comfortable with. To a point.
Right.
To a point. Nobody wants that inconvenience in their day. Because that's what it is. It's an inconvenience.
Sure.
What can they do? They're not going to be able to sue you. They're not going to be able to take anything off your plate. They're not going to be able to shut your business down.
Yeah.
Are they going to be a pest? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that kind of means that you're doing it right.
Yeah.
If all your eggs in a row, if all your ducks are in a row, and you're doing what you're preaching,
yeah,
what's wrong?
Right.
What's wrong? Let them show up. Let them let them be the fool. Let them be the fool.
Yeah. Because
what we've all been saying, is the truth. Now, I'm not inviting those people here. But, we've done tours for Fortune 500, 200 companies. We've had a lot of companies come out here to see what dairy is. And it's really, really interesting to see their perspective on what they thought and what they saw.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I want to educate. Those are the people that I want to show.
Right.
And knowing for liability reasons and biosecurity reasons, I can't just have anybody on the farm, that I've got to do it in a different manner. I've got to reach people that want to come, but I can't allow them to be on the facility, but I still want them to know I've got nothing to hide. So that's where the social page comes in. And that's still that gray area of comfort for a lot of people, especially the older generation.
Yeah. That
may not always understand the protections that we have in social medias, even though it seems like there's none.
Right. No, exactly. I think that's it. I'm glad to hear that you've seen a lot more of the older generation and just more farmers in general getting into that, mentality of like, we need to stop just letting them bulldoze us. Like, we need to kind of take a stand here. I think that's a really good thing. So I kind of think I know your answer to this, but do you think that there's a bright future for like ag in the media kind of platforms? Like, do you think that agriculture is going to become a mainstream thing, that people are going to pay more attention to it because of how present these pages are starting to become?
I think they're going to start paying attention for a few reasons. Okay. One, yes, the ag pages are fairly new, and they're taking a lot of steam really quick. They're growing pretty quick. And so eventually people are going to take notice. I've seen a lot of us have been on the news, national news, local news, whatever it might be. People are going to see. The other side is people are really going to start noticing when it hits their pocketbooks. Mm-hmm. When they're talking about bringing food in from other countries, maybe even state lines. But when food is in the news and you start seeing food in the stores being more expensive than it was, why is that? Why is it costing me more now, and why isn't that food as good?
Right.
Yeah. Why does that say product of, XYZ country?
Yeah.
Do I trust that?
Right.
Or do I trust all the stinking regulations that the U.S. has to make sure there's zero tolerance on everything to go in my food? Do we have any control of those other countries? No. Not really. But we're going to pay a lot of times more for that product. You're going to start getting that attention. And it's not that you're asking for it. It's people are going to start caring. People are going to start caring where their food comes from. And I think we're there now. People are really paying attention more now than ever before where their food comes from.
Yeah.
And how is it produced. A lot of times they care more about how than they care where.
Yeah.
Did it come from a happy cow? Did it come from a tree that was planted in the forest? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. The really mushy, happy feeling that's behind it, that's what they want to know. That's the feeling. They're buying an experience. Yeah. They're buying a feeling. Because they could buy whatever product they want. What makes them feel good about it? And that's kind of where we are now. So those that are able to walk the walk and talk the talk, which the dairy industry does fantastically. Yeah. We've got nothing to hide. And we're proving that. We've got probably one of the most stable track records in all of history. Yeah. In the U.S., that is. Let me make that very clear. In the U.S. But we're becoming more mainstream because as food becomes more and more scarce, as the population continues to grow, and there's talk about not having enough food come 2050 to feed everybody to their current demands, as statistics show, we have to get a lot more creative on how we produce food. So we need to talk about where it comes from. How is it produced? Right. And people are going to take more of a stand on what's in the store, like they already are. People are already taking that stand, but now more than ever, I think we're going to be a lot more mainstream. So we need people like you to go out there and talk on the news and be a part of those conversations and highlight those people that are telling the truth, dang it.
I'm working on it.
He is for hire. He's going to college, but he's for hire. I don't know if you can afford him. He's really expensive. He's that good.
I appreciate the shout out, the question, but no, I'm working on it. But no, I think that's an accurate observation. That's what I've noticed as well. And I've also noticed, from just like I talked earlier, talking to these consumers about where their concerns at, what they're interested in agriculture, like why. I've had consumers reach out to me and say, hey, with everything going on with quarantine and like the world's basically on fire, we don't know what's going on. Like, I want to start my own garden. Like, people are getting into like the idea of like, I want to figure out how food is grown in case something goes south real quick. Like,
yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, and people are like reaching out to me like, hey, I know you do this podcast about agriculture. Can you teach me like everything I need to know about how to raise food? I was like, okay, first of all, no. But we can have a conversation about agriculture, and that might get your foot in the door to learn more about this kind of stuff. And they were like psyched about it. And so like that kind of stuff. So like as terrible as everything that's going on is, it is kind of helpful for our side of things. Like the people are actually concerned enough that they need to know where their food's coming from now. And like you said, how it's being grown. And that's something that is like, we went through a long phase, like a very long phase of people not caring where the food came from. They just ate it. And now they're starting to take an interest. And it's for, like you said, it's for a lot of reasons. Some of it's fear. Some of it is nutrition. Like nutrition is a big thing. So everyone's like, oh yeah, absolutely, on a million different diets. So they have to look into how the food's grown to make sure it works for their diet kind of thing. So there's all that kind of, like there's like the niche markets and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, how food is grown is part of a dinner table conversation that it hasn't been part of for a very long time. And it's kind of cool to see, honestly. I mean, yeah, I think so, at least. And there's another point I was going to make. I can't remember what it was now. Well,
as you're talking about how food is produced, more now than ever, I'm getting more questions about organic.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic. I love the questions. And I'm not going to dog it. No. I'm not going to say anything bad about it.
No.
Because it's just a process of growing that food.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any worse. It makes it different.
Yeah.
And maybe that difference is just the person behind it and how the tractors they used and the way they cultivated it.
Right.
And that's it. And I love having those conversations because a lot of people think, you just, you're a conventional dairy farmer. You must hate those organic guys. No, I don't. Right. I don't. Good for them. Yeah. They fooled you all, and they're making a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, I am jealous. It's the same milk.
Right.
It's the same. Well, it tastes different. It's processed different. The cow's biology is exactly the same. I don't care which farm you're on. A cow's a cow is a cow is a cow.
Right.
But you'll pay $20 a gallon. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. But I love that conversation because they immediately think I'm going to say something bad, about it. I've got more respect for those guys. They saw it coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a smart move. And whether you believe whatever you believe about organic, I mean, that's definitely your prerogative to have your own thought process and your own beliefs. And then there's science.
Yeah.
But believe what you want to believe when it comes to organic.
Right. No,
as long as you have the money for it.
Right. It cracks me up because when people think like, oh, I got this from an organic farm, they think the farmer is like some hippie that's growing. No, it looks like every other farmer. They just got they got the idea ahead of time. They're like, okay, this is gonna be a market. I'm gonna capitalize on this. It's great.
Is it healthier for me? No. But if it makes you feel good, go ahead.
If you think it's healthier for you, then it's healthier for you.
It's the placebo effect.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny because a lot of people are asking those questions and the GMO questions, and a lot of those things is they care about where or how it's produced. And I'm getting that question more now than ever, and maybe it's because organic sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it's a little more expensive.
Yeah.
And right now things are tight in a lot of places, and people are really trying to watch their buck. Yeah. Okay, I need to know. Right. Is this going to kill me? I need to know. Is this like a superfood that's going to do what you got to do, man? Yeah. But it's fun. It's fun to have those conversations. I on my page specifically, there is not a stupid question. They're stupid people, and we've proved that. But there's not stupid questions. Like if people start making mean comments, that's where I draw the line.
Sure.
Towards me, I don't care. Towards the other people on the pages, I care.
Right.
If you start doing that to the followers or some of my friends that are on the page, I don't care. Anybody, they start fighting in the page. Now I care. Right. Now it's a problem. You'd say anything to me, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Yeah. But questions are welcomed all day long. Because isn't that what we want?
Yes.
All day long. That's what we want to do. I don't like just telling my story. I like answering questions.
Yep. No,
Because that means people are engaged. They want to know. So what can I do to provoke those questions?
Yes.
Sometimes it's a goofy video. Like, what was that behind you?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I've had that same experience. Like, I'll have people all the time like, don't you ever don't you ever get like tired of people asking just stupid questions? I'm like, no, I love it. Like that's like
fantastic.
That's the most fun conversations I have is when they have like the weird off the wall questions. Like when I do my consumer interviews, they always like every single without fail they always say, I was going to ask something, but I think it's going to be a stupid question. I'm like, ask it, please ask it. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If it's a question that's important and I give you like if you get the wrong answer from somewhere else, that's my fault. Like, ask me the question, and if you want to get a second opinion, go get a second opinion. But there's no such thing as a stupid question. They ask me, and it's usually a good question.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
They think it's dumb.
Right.
But it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, down to, I just posted a picture. I rode one of our horses bareback the other day. And it was hot outside. I didn't want to put a saddle on, and I was trying the whole hackamore deal where I didn't want to use the bit, and I wanted to, really work on the training. Well, that dang horse sweat all the way through my pants, right? So I get off this horse, and you got this butt print on top of the horse.
I saw the picture of that.
Yeah. Which now I know I need to wash as soon as I do that because I was on fire. But I had a guy go, I don't understand the joke.
Oh.
I said, if you know, you know. Well, apparently he didn't know. But it led to a really neat conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of said something on the page about it, and then he messaged me. And then we had this kind of longer conversation, building that relationship off of a question he thought was dumb.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was completely unrelated to cattle.
Sure.
It had to do with horses and sweat, and now I'm chafing. But now we're talking about cows and his life and his backstory and why dairy is important to him. And I love that. I love making that connection based on a commonality.
Yes.
And maybe it's not dairy, and that's what people don't understand. Is it doesn't have to be dairy. Mm-hmm. That's why I showcase everything. Yeah. Maybe somebody has horses, maybe somebody has chickens, turkeys, donkeys. Yeah. I don't care. Kids, a weird kid. I got one. I am that one. But, some commonality to come back so we can have this conversation about where the food comes from. That reassurance that you see what we're doing. You can see what I'm doing specifically. All my animals are healthy. Yeah, I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. We're happy with what we're doing. You can see all the way around us that everything has its place. You can be assured that when you buy that gallon, you buy that ice cream, you buy that cheese, whatever it might be, that there's a lot of people just like me that you don't know that went into making that product. Yeah. And you can be happy buying that product. You can be secure buying that product. There's nothing to worry about at that point. Right. And that's the whole idea of going out and creating these pages and going out and taking some of these seemingly difficult questions or dumb questions or making people feel confident enough or assured enough they can ask you those questions. Yeah. Building that relationship with a community that we never really touched before. Right. No, exactly. It's going back, and we didn't want to talk to you before because we were scared you were going to hurt us. But now, hey, we want to have that relationship. Ask that question. Let's talk about anything and everything. Let's have an open dialogue about whatever you want to talk about. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. If I can learn something from you in your life, I'm willing to do that. I'm here to share, not to tell. I'm not here to educate and force something down your throat. Right. I'm here just to share my life and what I do. And hopefully that gives you confidence in what I'm doing, in the products that we all produce, but also gives you the confidence that you can come to me and talk to me. Yeah. That I have that open relationship with you, that if you have a question or you see something or somebody says something that you don't think is quite right, it just doesn't sound right. It's not what I saw on DairyDad.
Right.
It's not what I saw on New Mexico Milkmaid or Tillamook Dairy Farm or whatever it might be. That's not what I saw. Mm-hmm. I got to ask the question.
Yep.
Not, oh my goodness, that must be the truth.
Yeah.
I saw it on a billboard.
Yeah.
I saw it on a commercial.
No, absolutely. And like I keep going back to the consumer conversations, but they're like a big part of why I'm even having this discussion with you is because they're important. But I've talked to these people before, and they don't even realize how much their life ties into ag. Like I always tell them, like, the consumer is the most important part of the ag food chain. I don't think you realize that.
Yeah.
Without you, ag doesn't exist, because people need to eat and people need to buy the products, and people need to, the farmers can't do what they do without their market and without the consumer. And so they're like, I'll talk to them, and some of them actually have more of an agricultural background than they realize. Like, one of them was like he's like, I have no agricultural background. I've never been on a farm, or I've never worked on a farm kind of thing. And we got into the conversation. He's like, oh yeah, in high school I worked. I was a hay baler for one summer. I was like, so you've worked in ag? And he's like, yeah. I mean, I guess. It's like, but the littlest experience you can have to connect with them and just be like, yeah, I did that. Like, I've been a hay baler before. Kind of sucks, doesn't it? He's like, yeah, it's not, it's not fun work. And so that connection was really cool. And the guy I talked to yesterday, he's an engineer, not an ag engineer, just a general engineer. He's like, well, I worked on a John Deere tractor before. I built I built parts for John Deere tractors before. Does that mean I'm an agricultural worker? I was like, I mean, you've helped the ag industry, so you're involved in ag, yeah. And he's like, huh, I didn't think the ag was that big. And I was like, yeah, it's way bigger than just farming. It's not just the production of the food. It's everything that goes into making that production possible. And so it's a cool conversation when you finally get, when that light flips on and they're like, oh, I didn't realize how important that was, or how big that was, or how cool that is, or it's a cool conversation to have. So
it is. It is really neat to see the light bulb turn on, and that connection to whatever it might be. Yeah. And some of it is, like you said, it's not necessarily cows. Right. It's agriculture and all the things that make up ag. Mm-hmm. There's so many things, so many supporting roles just in the dairy community alone. I'm going to have to stay in my lane on this one because I know dairy more than anything else. Sure. But I couldn't do it without the veterinarians. I couldn't do it with the truck driver that brings our supplies. I couldn't do it without the guys that produce cotton, because I need the cotton seed. The almond guys that produce the almond hulls. The citrus guys, I feed citrus pulp. I couldn't do it without those balers and those choppers and this guy that drives the dozer to pile up my silage. I couldn't do it without the salesman that's selling our product. I couldn't do it without the salesman that comes and tells me the products that are new and different, make sure that we're stocked up. Yeah. I couldn't do it without the people that work here. There's so many things that go around to making this go around. I mean, we got a guy that comes out from an HR company. There's so much that is involved in just dairy. Yeah. And just here. Yeah. That people don't realize that anything you can do outside of agriculture, you can do in ag. Oh, yeah. Right? From sales, marketing, science, biology, mechanics, engineering, art, communications, you name broadcasting. Yeah, everything. Oh, yeah. Everything. It's all there. Yeah. It's all there. So many people don't understand that. The best thing I love to tell people, and they don't get it. They don't get it until I say it. A lot of people understand already that 80% of FFA students do not have a farming background. Right. Okay. That's a statistic that's been out there that's been proven. Yeah. Now, out of 100% of those kids, there's a huge majority that love the ag classes. They love it. It's the best part of their schedule are those ag classes. They enjoy it. And then when they graduate from high school and they're starting to career plan, their counselors tell them it's time to look for a real job. So here are your options. Right. You can be this, that. But in the back of their mind, I really love that ag class. That's a job. Yeah. I don't care if you were shearing sheep or teaching or whatever, mechanics or welding. Yeah. I don't care if you were milking. whatever it might be, if it was sciences, if it was chemistry, biology, soils, horticulture, holy smokes, man. Like, that is a job. You could be in that and make money.
Yeah.
You enjoy that.
Yeah.
Do that. I mean, it's not for everybody.
Right.
But if you love it, do it. You can make a living doing that.
Yeah.
And so many people I've talked to have had that circle where they went out, had that ag class, went out because that's what was told of them, or was expected of them, hated their jobs outside of agriculture, and came back into ag in some form, whether it was sales, whether they went back to school and did something else, whether it was communication.
Yeah.
Social media now is huge. Mm-hmm. There's a huge market for that. People that can manage those kinds of things. Data entry or collection. Yeah. Holy smokes! There's so many levels that we can connect on.
Right.
That I don't care who I'm talking to. I know somebody that is in your position in agriculture that helps support the food supply system.
Yes.
There's zero reason why we cannot connect to absolutely everybody.
Right. No, absolutely.
In one way or another. We as producers and farmers and in agriculture, period, just need to get a whole heck of a lot better at communicating, getting out of our bubble, stop talking to ourselves, reaching across the aisle, getting out of our comfort zone, and connecting. Talking to people that we normally wouldn't talk to because, oh my goodness, I don't know them. Or, oh my goodness, that's not in my comfort zone.
Right.
Or, I'm comfortable right here, I'm going to let somebody else do it. If that was the mind frame of everybody, nobody would do it.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree 10,000%. And I've seen that too. That was my experience. For having an ag background, I had zero interest in ag until I got into FFA and until I took the ag classes and I was doing speeches and I learned that I loved to teach and I loved to speak and I loved the idea of agriculture. And then when I was like you said, when I was told, all right, here's your options for jobs, it's extremely limited. And the ag jobs I was told that were available were like ag business, ag teacher, vet, farmer. That's it.
Right?
Like I wasn't taught, I didn't know ag communications was a major. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that I didn't even know was available. And talking to your average consumer, I know a lot of people who don't even know that there's such thing as ag school. They think that people just go into farming and that's all of ag. They don't know that they can go to school to study that kind of stuff, or that FFA even exists, or that, I actually kind of terrified one of my guests one time because I was going over some of my, scary statistics kind of thing, just because I like to mess with them, and I'm just like, did you know?
Shock and awe.
Yeah, and they love it. They love to know that kind of stuff. Even, they're not going to remember the statistics half the time. There is one, I know for a fact this guy's going to remember it because he wouldn't stop talking about it the entire episode, and I loved it. It was actually my last episode. I mentioned how in the United States, less than 2% of Americans are directly involved in production agriculture. He was like, you mean to tell me the most agriculturally productive state or country in the entire world, only less than 2% of your population is growing the food? Yeah. And he's like, that's terrifying. It's like, yeah.
But why is it terrifying?
Right. I think it's just because he thought that meant that we're not going to have any food. That because the number of farmers is going down, that the amount of food we're going to have is going down. And that is a concern, and that's part of the reason why he wanted to learn more. He's like, okay, is it possible for people to become farmers? Can we raise that number? It's like, I don't see it going much higher than that. The fact is, we're not going to make more farmers. We just need to protect the farmland that we have. We can't get any farmland back. We just got to make the most of what we have and not let any more of it get taken. And he was like, "That's a good point. I'm gonna tell people more about that because that's important."
Well, and it's expanding on what we do have.
Right.
It's taking advantage of technology and the time that we have and the extreme speed of data that we can really take new information and use it quickly. And we can take the use of really good technology and put it into place and see a difference. I mean, the statistics on how much a cow can produce now compared to the 70s even, your average cow is doing 80 pounds of milk.
Yeah.
On our herd today, we're doing about 100 pounds of milk on average. And they're doing it with ease.
Yeah.
And that's from selective breeding, and that has a lot to do with understanding the animal and feeding them better nutrition and doing, taking advantage of different technologies that help us understand the animal, right?
Right.
Helping them produce that milk in an effective manner. But it's hard to do these kind of things without the consumers on board. Like, oh my goodness, GMO.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness, how can a cow now produce 180 pounds? Like, I got a cow that just pulled like 180 pounds last test. That's insane to think about.
Right.
When your average cow was pulling 80 pounds in the 70s.
Yeah.
She must be, this juiced up, No, she's not.
Right.
But we understand the animal better now than we did. She had all this potential back then. We just didn't understand.
Right.
It was this technology that helped us, through testing, whether it's testing feeds and analyzing feeds or metabolic tests to understand the animal better. Understand what does she need.
Yeah.
We're generations deep into raising animals.
Yeah.
We've got generations of knowledge passed down. We are getting even more in-depth knowledge of what an animal is supposed to look like, a healthy animal, so we can recognize things quicker, easier, sooner, so that these animals have a much efficient production time. But
there's always a but.
Helping people understand that we did nothing but give the animal what she needs. That part is scary.
Yeah.
Because there is an area there that is open for narrative. We learned that giving the cows fans and misters, and we now understand where the animal starts feeling heat stress. We now understand that it's really important that cows don't just eat alfalfa.
Right.
That they need a balanced diet just like we do. We are still trying to figure out our own diets,
exactly.
Right? Are we a caveman? Are we a whatever? What is it?
Right.
We understand a lot more now than we did before. And trying to communicate those statistics that we are able to do more with less. It's not scary. We're doing it in a natural manner, in a natural way, taking advantage of efficiencies. We're able to produce more food with less land. We're able to reduce our carbon footprint, right?
Yeah.
Every single day, we are finding a way to reduce our carbon footprint in ag. It's really funny with this whole COVID thing. I hate saying that word. It drives me nuts.
I do too.
But everybody stopped driving cars. So many things came to a halt. Ag didn't. Right? Agriculture never missed a beat because we couldn't.
No. People
have to eat. We can't just say, oops, sorry, cows. We're not feeding you today. Oops, we're not going to milk you today. Have fun exploding.
Right.
Exactly. You can't do that.
Yeah.
With that being said, I haven't been able to see the mountain range next to my house in a decade. I've been able to see it for almost a month.
Yeah.
It was covered in a haze of smog, of whatever it was. I'm not going to speculate what it was that was covering my view of the mountain range that is really close.
Right.
But in since the lockdown, I've been able to see those mountains. My kids have had less breathing trouble. We haven't stopped what we're doing.
Right.
We have continued to improve. We have continued to be more efficient. We've continued to feed not just the population around us, in our city, our state, our country, but the world. We're still producing and feeding more people with 2%.
Yep.
2% of the population of the U.S.
Yep.
And we are pushing out that kind of food. And we're doing it because we're taking advantage of technologies. We're doing it sustainably. We're doing it because in a way to give back to the earth. Because we need the earth.
Yep.
We need the earth to be healthy so we can continue to do what we do. We need our animals to be healthy so we can continue to do what we do. Because we can't do it without either one.
Mm-hmm.
We need the earth to be healthy to produce the crops, the animals to be healthy to produce the milk.
Yeah.
So why would we do it harm? Why would we purposely be lazy and do our environment harm? We don't. But we're one of the most heavily regulated industries It's insane.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's insane. So to have that 2% statistic and understand all the things that we do in ag, we have to continue to feed our population. We have to take care of technologies in order to continue to use the land that is continuing to shrink. Because the urban population is growing out, which means farmland is disappearing. So we have to take advantage of new technologies that are safe, that are proven, that are science.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, exactly.
That's natural. We're taking advantage of sustainable practices so that we can all continue to live healthily, so we can all continue to live a healthy lifestyle. That's the goal of the 2%.
Right.
But we just have to teach the 98% that we're here to help and help them understand how we're doing.
Absolutely. So I think that is about as good a spot as any to wrap up this episode, because we covered just about everything that I was hoping to cover. There's a couple things that I was thinking we were going to touch on that just didn't fit right with the conversation, but that's okay. We can always do a part 2 if we need to.
Sounds like a plan.
But yeah, so that's all I have. Is there anything else you want to add to that? If you had anything you could say to a consumer right now, is there anything you want to say? Or
so I would touch on 2 things. One, to the producer, it's important more now than ever. We have to tell our story. We have to support those that are telling the story. Our story, your story. We have to understand that we're not in it alone. That there's forces out there that are there to help. We are there to help. We're there to band together and help with whatever you need. Don't feel like you're alone.
Right.
But to the consumer, our practice may change in logistics, but the essence of what we do has not. The goal of what we do is to produce happy, healthy animals. Take care of those animals to the best of human possibility. We spend an ungodly amount of money and time and effort and emotion to make sure that these animals need nothing, want nothing. So that the products that they produce are as healthy, as clean, as nutritious, as wholesome, as pure as possible. So that when you go to the store to buy these products, you don't have to think twice. These products are good for your family. They're fun to have. They're enjoyable. And you can buy it with the faith, the trust, and the respect that gallon of milk, that block of cheese, that bit of butter, that whatever it might be, was produced with you in mind.
Yeah.
Not just your nutrition, but your livelihood, the environment that you live in, us as neighbors to you. That's the essence of what we do. We've always been about the community. We're just making a name for ourselves that we are back into it again. We now understand that we need to share what we do a little more and a little different. And we are always there to answer the questions. All you have to do is ask.
Awesome. I think that was probably the best message I could have come up with. So I'm glad that you ended on that note. That was really good. So I think before we close out here, is there anything you want to promote? I know you kind of talked about your social media presence a little bit, but
so for those that want to ask more questions or poke fun at me, just totally cool. That's why I'm here, to answer questions and have a good time.
Yeah.
You can definitely find me on CaDairyDad. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm trying to still learn that. It's a whole new thing for me.
It's a drug, man.
It's just terrible. It'll poison your mind.
It will.
It's a sickness, but it's so much fun.
Yes.
Find me on any one of those platforms. Reach out. I'm more than willing to have the conversation, any conversation. There's not a stupid question. There's not a hard question. You're not going to put me on the spot. You're going to get only the honest answers. And if I don't have the correct answer, I will find it. Because if I don't know it, I need to know it.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely be putting all your links in the description and everything that people can find you a lot easier. I think that's all I have. I just want to like to thank Tyler here for joining us for this great episode. I think it was one of the better conversations I've had on this show. So, I mean, at least from the agricultural perspective, it was actually very, very insightful and kind of the direction I think that we should be taking for this second season of Talk Ag to Me and getting those consumer farmer relationships a lot healthier than they are right now. So I think that's all I have. Tyler, I think that's all you had as well.
Just thank you for having the conversation. Mm-hmm. Thank you for reaching out and asking about my story. There's a lot of people that don't want to have the conversation because they're scared or they don't know how. And you're out there provoking the questions. You're out there asking the hard questions. You're out there trying to expose the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's all we could ever ask for. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I hope you continue to do it. And if there's anything you ever need, you've got a friend here.
Well, I appreciate that. And I definitely don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Good.
So that's all I have. I hope everyone tunes in next week. And thank you all for tuning in. And don't forget, if you ate today, thank a farmer.